YouTube, what's good? It's your boy, Paul Harris, aka the Crazy Uncle. Hey, if this is your first time tuning in, go ahead, hit the doggone subscribe button, hit the doggone notification bell every time I post up new content. I'm currently watching episode 2 of the limited series Colin in black and white, right? I already watched episode 1, right? And for the most part, here's the deal, people. Y'all know how I do things. But this, and for the most part, just know when I heard about this, right? I started to actually really just do a show just right off. But I hadn't even watched one episode. But you know what though? I feel like, and the only reason why I said it is because I already know a little bit of the history behind this guy. He played football for the 49ers. And we all know why he is out of the league, because he decided that he wanted to actually really take a stand, which for the most part I have. What he did, I have no problem with it. I'm a 21-year Army veteran. I fought for freedom, right? And then that was his freedom to actually really kneel down when the national anthem is played. Me personally, I have no problem with that, right? And to be perfectly honest with you, like I say, I give him that because, just like I say, in a lot of my shows, right? Yes, I did 21 years, damn near 21 years, right? And even while I was in, I actually really started really questioning why, what the fuck was I doing? Meaning that, am I actually really fighting for freedom? Or was I actually really fighting for world domination? Right? And put like this, I'm not going to speak for every veteran, because every veteran don't feel the same way that I do. Every veteran don't think the same way that I do. I'm not going to talk about the people that are currently in now. I'm not about to talk about the people that are actually really thinking about joining. I'm not going to do that. But this was the question that I really actually asked myself. Am I actually really fighting for freedom? Or was I actually really fighting for world domination? Right? So in either case, and the only reason why I asked that question is because freedom was around before any type of so-called established government was even thought of or materialized. Right? So that within itself, if you actually really stop and think about it for a minute, or as my man Dane Calloway would say, hey, guess what? I'm just here to make you think. And for the most part, just know that my man Dane Calloway, for the most part, he's probably going to play a significant role in this particular show. So for those y'all that actually really know who the fuck Dane Calloway is, right? Just tell him there's one of his subscribers, right? I'm going to be intermixing him within this particular show that's happening right now on Netflix. So hey, here's the deal, people. For those y'all know, for the most part, we already know who the hell Colin Kaepernick is, what he did, and what he actually really calling himself as now. He calling himself as a civil American activist, civil rights activist, and then again, go back and watch my show, what I did on what it is that actually really to be civil, right? I actually really can't remember the title, but feel free to go through my videos. Matter of fact, I want to say, hey, civil rights, or are you a civil rights activist? It's like civil rights or human rights or whatever it is, but for the most part, I did put in there something about a shoe shine boy in there, right? So in either case, so for the most part, I'm watching this. Right? Watch the first episode. The first episode was called Cornrow, right? So so the whole thing was all about the hair, apparently, right? About your appearance, how people look at you, how people perceive you, right? So for the most part, okay, I got it. You know, you want to wear your hair a different style or whatever. But throughout, for those y'all that have watched it, right? Throughout, y'all know he has the big afro now. So my first question is this: why the fuck you wearing an afro? Do you actually really know the origin of the afro? And then here's where my man Dane Calloway comes in at, right? Because if you know anything about the origin of the afro, you know that it actually really comes over from Africa, so-called Africa, or the continent Africa, right? Knowing damn well ain't nobody on that continent are true Africans. You either finna be wherever country that you in and on that continent, that's what the fuck you really are. And again, I did shows on this. But it's all about the afro, it's all about the braids, it's all about the so-called dreadlocks, all that stuff, right? Because again, this is what the hell he ain't saying, right? So that's flag number one. Because here's the deal. Here's the deal, people, right? Even the so-called people that's in Africa or on the continent of Africa, guess what? They ain't from Africa. Because here's the deal. You're too busy listening to what the fuck Dr. Leakey told y'all so many years ago. Just because you found the first human remains don't mean that they were actually like from there. Plain and simple. And it's just for the simple fact that all of this at one point was nothing more than one big piece of land. Right? If you don't believe it, go over there, get your Bible, read over there in Genesis where it actually really says about it was just one landmass at one point in time. And then who's to say that it still is nothing more than just one landmass? Damn what the fuck you see in the history books. Damn what the fuck NASA is telling you. Right? And just for the simple fact, the title within itself, Colin in black and white. Really? So we're really gonna go there. Because it's just for the simple fact, everything that you see in doggone black and white ain't always true. So now, with any good television show or any television show telling you the vision show, right? You're going to have your good points and your bad points. And for the most part, there are some actually really good points in the first couple of episodes that I've actually watched. I'm currently watching the second one right now as we speak, right? Which is titled Quarterbacking, right? And for the most part, right, here's a guy, right? You know, again, this is where I will say, hey, look, you got your good parts, you got your bad parts, because for the most part, you would have thought that Doug Williams, quarterback of the then Washington Redskins, killed that shit. Right? Warren Moon, just to name a few. You would think they would have killed that shit back in the day. Randall Cunningham, you would think they would have killed that back in the day. But here it is, this young guy, right? He still had to go through that. And for the most part, and again, I've said this and a lot of and playing in my shows, right? If this is and even then, Colin himself said this. Okay, this is supposed to be the so-called land of opportunity, right? But if this is the land of opportunity, how about you let me have that and let me run with it without any resistance? Then, like at the start of episode 2, he was talking about, hey, that the system was actually really built this way, which again, this is stuff that I've said in previous shows. Matter of fact, I think I said it in the show, my last show. Hey, look, you get a system that is built by the criminal, ran by the criminal. Who the hell you think is going to benefit? The doggone criminal, right? So, okay, again, I give him that. But the hair, no, partner, that's where you lose me at. Because you sitting up here, you talking about you activist this, activist that, activist the other. Right? I mean, you want to sit up here and holler about you black, right? You can do that without the motherfucking afro. Right? And it's just for the simple fact that here it is. With episode 1, right? He's actually really he was trying to compare how the NFL, when you go to the combine or whatever, and they stretching you out and all that kind of stuff, he gonna actually really compare that to the doggone slave trade of what happened. So again, this is where Dane Calloway comes in at, right? And then, but even then, even if you knew beforehand, before Dane Calloway even came on the scene to say, hey, guess what? Did you really go back and ask your grandparents, your great-grandparents, if they actually really came off the boat or not? That's why he was digging in Hollywood Joe Brown's ass so tough. Right? Go back and watch my show, because I did that one, right? Where it says, hey, talking about, well, my great grandfather came off the boat in 1812. Okay, what boat? Right? He couldn't answer. Right? But in our case, right? He did that because, again, although he's supposed to be this so-called activist, right? He still got to play that bullshit role. He has to. Right? Otherwise, he ain't gonna get no money off of this doggone Netflix limited series. Right? And then, like I say, I done heard all this stuff, everybody talking about, what you should be watching. Everybody watching bullshit shows. You should be watching this. Okay, goddamn it, I'm watching. And guess what? I'm tearing his ass up, just like any other thing that I would actually really do. Whether it's in a motherfucking television series format, or if it's just something that has actually really just happened on the news. And it's just for the simple fact, it's like this. Okay, I don't know how many series this is, right? But here's the deal. Okay, you're one of the few that has realized that you did all of this. You did all of this because this is what the fuck was put in front of you. That right hand, right there, the whole time, when you should have been paying attention to the left hand. And what did I say the other day? Beware of the hand when it's coming from the left. I told y'all that. He didn't know that, right? Now, am I actually really going to fault Kaepernick for that? Of course not. I'm not going to do that, right? But at the same time, though, right? And watch somebody, some ignorant ass, go back and try to dissect my video and get me for doing this, right? So, but in other cases, people, you gotta look at it like this, right? It's almost like, okay, and I might lose a couple of y'all right here. And if it seems like I'm jumping all over the place, then hey, my apologies. But here's the deal, people. Here's the deal. The reason why the average man, so-called the average man, or the average teenage male who will soon become a man, right? They look at the idiot box, right? And then they be like, okay, well, hey, look at him. He got all the women. He's dressed pretty well. He got money. Not necessarily knowing what the fuck he do, right? He could be a drug dealer, right? Could be a pimp. But we already know who the ultimate pimp is, right? So basically, all what the fuck that anybody do, they just emulating on what they have either seen, heard about, a combination of both, right? So here's the deal. So you see that, you say, "Ooh, I want to be like that." Not really knowing the consequences of what the fuck it is that you actually really doing. This could be said for the same thing that happened to Adam when Eve tempted his ass with the apple. Back in the day. Everything has a motherfucking point of origin. Right? So it actually really just goes down through it. Just the same shit happens throughout the course of time. Right? And it's just for the simple fact is other YouTubers out there that actually really start to expose so-called professional sports for what it truly honestly is. Right? Me, for the longest, I've always known that professional sports, regardless of motherfucking division, whether it's meaning football, whether it's on a professional or collegiate level, basketball, hockey, baseball, all that shit. All that shit is rigged. These motherfuckers, they already know who's gonna win and why. Right? Now, this could be just for the simple fact, maybe Colin Kaepernick actually really looked at it and said, "Oh, hell no. I ain't trying to be part of this." Which goes back to what the fuck did he did. He kneeled down during the national anthem, right? He said, well, hey, look, I really want to make a baby. I just don't want to just leave the NFL. I want motherfuckers to actually really know, hey, look, I'm going to leave the NFL. Now, a lot of people back in the day, they actually really said, well, hey, the only reason why that he did that because the defensive coordinators had figured out how Kaepernick played. So they actually really canceled out everything that he could actually really do The coach benched him. Then he started doing this shit, right? So, but in either case, regardless of what the fuck happens, right? Just know that all of this shit was staged, plain and simple, right? And everybody eating this bullshit up like it's a bowl of chili or whatever the fuck that your favorite dish is, right? Y'all eating it up. And again, don't know what the fuck you eating on, right? You just looking at, it's Colin Kaepernick. He's telling the truth. Or he's trying to tell the truth. Colin Kaepernick ain't saying nothing that what hasn't already been said. And then again, he's pushing the bullshit agenda with the motherfucking afro, with the motherfucking braids. Calling himself African American, or whatever the case may be. Whatever that he actually really calling himself. Right? But the thing about Noah is this is Hollywood, television, telling you to vision. Because somebody somewhere, some kid somewhere is looking at this, and one or two things is happening. They either saying that, hey, look, I either want to be like Colin Kaepernick or I don't want to be like Colin Kaepernick, right? But just know this, Colin Kaepernick, according to this limited Netflix series, right? Who did he pattern himself out? Allen Iverson, right? And last time I checked, that motherfucker broke it in a motherfucker, right? But his deal, and as far as like, as far as money goes, right? Again, a lot of this stuff that what I talk about, right? I've already talked about it already. I've already told y'all this. I already explained this stuff to y'all, right? Not to say that I actually really foresee things, anything like that. But the thing about doing this, once you gotta look at it like this, people. Let's say that you got a big ass brick wall, right? And somebody told you, hey, guess what? You got one time to give it everything that you have to bring down this wall, right? And it's just for the simple fact what a lot of people do. What come on back. Come back. Damn, I hate when this happens. No. Fuck. Hold on, y'all. Come on back, y'all. I hope y'all can see me. Ooh, I hate when motherfuckers call me. I mean, great fact, don't nobody know I'm doing a show at the particular time. Damn. Hold on, let's do this. Let's see this. No, we don't want to stop using the camera. Call while I was, and it fucked up the camera. But Another case, people. And we're back. Or I'm back, y'all. But like what I was saying, before everybody actually really start jumping to conclusions, talk about, oh, this is a good show. And he's actually really talking about something that's worthwhile, right? But actually really pay attention. Pay attention to his demeanor, his appearance, right? And I already know somebody is gonna be like that. Somebody that actually really don't know nothing, really don't know what the fuck they talking about. You know, they gonna look at it with damn. Okay, here's the crazy uncle talking that nonsense, right? Because here it is, episode 3 is going on right now, so he's actually really talking about the stuff that I already talked about. Him kneeling during the national anthem, the whole again, right? Just know this, people. Colin Kaepernick is a motherfucking celebrity. He's fallen. He has no other option. He's just like Judge Joe Brown, right? He has no other option but to fall under the the protocol or the protocols of what it is to be a doggone celebrity, right? 9 times out of 10, this motherfucker, he was low on money. And here come Netflix. But then again, but here's the deal, and I really don't know the timeline of this, right? But it's funny. It's funny that this comes out after the whole Dave Chappelle, his last show, right? So here's the deal, right? Again, right? A lot of motherfuckers raised hell about that, right? So he didn't come with this. Now, great fact, you probably still gonna get a lot of motherfuckers that's actually really gonna raise hell about it. But the thing about it though is this, right? You gotta ask yourself, what is Netflix actually really trying to do here? Are they actually really pissing people off intentionally? Right? To actually really make motherfuckers actually really watch them, to actually really be like, okay, you know what? Regardless of what we put out, right? Motherfuckers gonna watch it. Motherfuckers gonna talk about it, right? And people gonna do one or two things, right? They either gonna stay with Netflix or they gonna leave Netflix, right? But the ones that actually really stay, do you actually really call them? I'm not gonna sit up here and say that they are heroes, but let's just say that the folk that actually really stay with Netflix after they've seen the whole Dave Chappelle, after they've seen the whole Dave Chappelle piece, right? And they're actually really now looking at this whole Colin Kaepernick thing, right? You almost got to ask yourself, this is almost like a bad movie almost, right? You know the movie is fucked up, right? But you gonna sit there and you gonna watch it because the question is gonna come across, okay, how fucked up is this movie? You know some more fucked up shit coming. According to who's actually really watching. Me personally, I can care less. All of this shit is fucked up. To me, right? Because Dave Chappelle, he pushing the motherfucking homosexual agenda. And then here it is, you get this motherfucker. He wants to push the whole so-called African American agenda, which I already told you about that. The thing about doing is this, people. Know what agenda is being pushed. Know the difference. And just know that once you know the difference, don't get caught up in that bullshit. Like, really. So, with that being said, hey, guess what? Tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell Big Dan, tell Big Bertha, your uncle, your auntie, your grandma, your papa, motherfucker next door, cross the street around the corner, Paulus Harris, aka damn, I'm about to call myself the Medusa. But hey, I'm crazy uncle. Yes, I'm drinking, so yeah, y'all probably gonna sit up here and say that I'm just as fucked up as everybody else. But guess what, people? Ask me, do I give three lovely shits and a good goddamn? Till next time.